Today, we're going to talk about discernment, one of my favorite topics, and as it relates to the belief system that many people have in the courtroom or on social media or at work. There's so many different ways that we can apply it. So how many times have you stopped and questioned someone's view about you? How they view you? Do you even care? Does it bother you? Should you care? Is it really worth weighing their point of view? Or it may be that you are curious about their belief system. Let me tell you, capital no! Don't do it. In an effort, guys, to protect you, your beliefs, and most importantly, your values, today I am going to be direct to the point and spare you any further pain in life. Do I have your permission to do this? Give me a like and let me know what your thoughts are. If not, you may want to tune in just to test out my theory. First off, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your friendship and love. My name is Barbie Latavisi. I am a relationship and divorce strategist who, for the last 15 years, has learned a thing or two about family law and has made it a point to educate on the subject alongside trusted legal friends in the United States, Hawaii, and the United Kingdom. So thanks so much for tuning in. I have got to share that today we will be diving deep into the power of discernment. When used correctly, it could be very powerful. What does it mean? What is discernment? What to do if it doesn't come to you? What do you do then? And how not to allow others' belief system steamroll you. It is critical that you, me, and the rest of us practice intelligent evaluation. You are not obligated to believe all that is. You are expected to analyze the information, do your experiment, and draw from your conclusions. Simply put, be in tune. Rest assured that the Almighty up above gave you all amazing humans a brain to use and apply. So don't waste it. So does everything you read or hear these days online for free teach you something or substance that you can apply in your own life? I have to admit, I am a nerd when it comes to learning. It started early on in my life, the doctrines and principles that have been instilled in me. And I often wonder, because I do love books, not often do I get an opportunity to read a good solid book. I like podcasts and I love music, as many of you guys know. But is it better in reality not to read than to believe everything that you read? A little food for thought. Let's talk a little bit about COVID-19, the pandemic. You know, those conspiracy theories we all heard of. Many felt it is better to put off the vaccine, while others didn't want to even compromise the possibilities of even being infected and dying. And then, we've heard those whose position over and over again that it doesn't apply to most people. So we hear these perceptions, these beliefs, these statements, and we have to discern on our own what is best suited for us. And like is the case, have you ever just for fun gone out there and listened to a psychic or a tarot reader that may see or say something, I foresee a bag of money filled with coins, and the person listening will attempt to either agree or try to rationalize by trying to interpret how that applies in their lives. Do you see where I'm going with this? Just recent, I was in court and the judge was essentially sharing her perspective of what she believed may be the issue that was taking place at this hearing. And although I appreciate the judge's openness, her perception simply didn't match the exact thoughts that were portrayed or written in a declaration. I know that the other party very well, in fact, and given their history, I just kind of know better. I know many here can relate. So please, I'm sharing this with you to get you to think about how often we go out there and we allow anyone to manipulate, to control, or even tell you what you should do. Instead, do question what there is. What is being said about you and why that is. Whichever your position may it be defend yourself if you believe it is not accurate. And if it is not important to you, well then that is beautiful. Continue to protect your peace. I am all for protecting one's peace. Do what is satisfying to you. If you don't discern, you will be eaten alive. Just because something lives on social media, because you were raised to believe to a certain belief as true, it does not necessarily mean it is true. Don't be someone's puppet to their perceptions. We think about faith often. Should we have faith that everything's going to turn out right? Well, we should. We tend to somehow conduct ourselves spiritually, if you will. Make a good decision by looking at issues objectively. Analyze, experiment, and discern. Don't be lazy and just rely on faith. You must apply all simultaneously. If you stop and think about this, the beauty is you have options. Who doesn't like options? We have freedom of choice to make decisions. You can opt to learn from your teachers, or let's say leaders, or the experiences that life offers you, which, by the way, can be very painful. So which one do you believe would be kinder or will get you to the side much quicker than you would like? Definitely, we know it's the leader or the influencer who you can entrust. We know all too well that when you choose to learn through life experiences, we are guaranteed pain, correct? Intuition may come in, but you can't use it blindly. Again, you must analyze, experiment, and draw from your own conclusions. There is something about discernment. I've applied it in my life, and I believe personally that I have keen discernment because I know it is so important in our lives. It allows you the ability to filter. Without it, any information you stumble upon against what people say to you or what you read, you will be manipulated. The greatest pain we can choose to overcome in life is being deceived, manipulated, and who knows what else. I can spot one within, let's say, just seconds. This is one of the greatest lessons we can elect to teach our very own family, specifically our children. Pure empowerment to think for ourselves, it's powerful. So what should you do when your intuition is not present or in a zero status? I know most of us are familiar with our doctors when we go visit them and they make a prescription. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a prescription, but rather we can take cautionary steps to overcome whatever the issues may be at the doctor. Let's say, for instance, we have a cardio issue, a heart problem. What do doctors do? they apply the same principle. They turn to their books for direction, get some protocol, research, and they plan, and they share with you the information based on statistics or studies that have been made scientifically of what you should and should not do, correct? So something you can consider is to also go inward in your intuition. Think it through very carefully. And that's one of my favorite ways to go about discernment. Everything we are curious about is subject to being studied and to be able to validate its truth. You were granted the ability to think, to feel, and to act upon those promptings. Make your brain work and don't rely on others. You know, I believe that stimulating our brain, it is the greatest gift that we can give ourselves. Make it work for you, and don't be idle and assume that the person who's giving you the information has all the answers, because it's ultimately your life. However, if they have vast knowledge on a specific subject matter, listen to them. There's always something, some nugget that you can always walk away with, and then draw your own conclusions. So don't allow who deems themselves as an authority to control you in any case scenario. You do not need to believe what they think or say, period. Focus on being awakened by your own actions and conclusions. Know that just because it may follow traditions, or someone may have written it, or the masses happen to follow it, or just because it causes a form of reaction internal in you, it is not true. In fact, today, I challenge you to test it out for yourself. In it lies absolute great truths. If it brings you internal peace and rest, believe it is right. Otherwise, don't believe it at all. Realize your intuition in its purest form will never create chaos or make you feel uneasy. You know, having lived, studied, and experienced life, I am very adamant to easily follow others. That is, if I personally do not discern that it feels right. The reason why I am sharing this with you today, it's because I recently went through this precise experience during a trial that a father who had been ruthless in his pursuit of full legal and physical custody. Even after the courts, they had shared that the parties were going to share both legal and physical custody. So the father persisted. This comes even after he's received, or requested in this case, 2 psychiatric evaluations for both the child and the mother. And although he is in pure denial, and the child has abundantly been clear for almost most of her teenage years, he seeks vengeance. So he harasses both of them, the mother and the child. I do believe some people should do their internal work to get past these type of insecurities. They can be very disruptful for the family environment. And my point here is that we should not be subject to others' opinions about who you are, what you do, or what you even represent. Please don't fall prey to someone who intentionally looks to confuse, hurt, destroy, manipulate, or speak bad about you behind your back, most particularly when someone does not know you at all. And like is the case, there had been a series of consecutive motions that had been filed, and I had determined, based on case law and specific family codes that normally you would cite, that this man had been vexatious. And there's penalties that arise as a result of having him be consecutive, particularly when they have been denied. So believe it or not, it was was overlooked and not even considered. Essentially, it told me it was going to be overlooked. This comes even when evidence is being presented. And oddly enough, it's on the court ledger. It reflects it. And yes, this is a very true story. It's appalling to be very accurate about the matter, but it does happen. So instead, I am slightly apprehensive about the outcome. Someone who doesn't know another person and claims to know them as if they're reading their mind. For me, for someone, for example, to tell me that they assume that they know me makes me question, particularly in a court of law, because I don't know anyone that knows me better than my late mother. Certainly not a judge, certainly not an attorney. So because they have no factual evidence as to who I could be, I am to roll over, so to speak, and believe someone's opinion, which I am completely in objection to. I don't think so. It's not possible. So friends, we must stand our ground in what we believe and not allow others to manipulate us, whether they decide whatever it is that they are deciding. Some people go to extreme measures to destroy you or your spirit. In custody matters, we know all too well the motivator in family law has everything to do with the support one is ordered to pay and not the pure intentions of the heart. Can we agree to this? Let me know in the comment section. And to top it off, I'm told that the reason why a child is opposed to travel is induced by a parent's fear. Really? Could it possibly be the parent is concerned for their child or their children? If there is a psychiatric evaluation, folks, that articulates the child's wishes, most specifically when the child has expressed those specific thoughts or her preferences, dismissing those wishes does violate the child's right. They have expressed their opinions to travel, air travel, not on the ground travel. And the interesting thing is that the judge has been made aware, yet elects to overlook it. To think all of this occurring because you have a disgruntled father that slowly and systematically has been plotting with their attorney to take over custody and discredit the parent really speaks volumes. The jealousy of seeking both of custodies for legal and physical custody, really, it must have surfaced because the parent, in this case is the father, is jealous of seeing both the children and the mother thrive and it's just very intimidating to think he would prefer his child to travel to him instead of the other way around. Most specifically, when the child has expressed their great fears of air travel, it's beyond questionable. So in this case, and oddly, what by law is considered to be in the very best interests of the child is denied. If the child chooses to continue their online learning, which is the case here, she must travel to dad. However, if the child elects to go in school and learn there in that environment, despite of how well the child is doing in school, dad, in this case, must travel to the child. So what would you do? I think I know my answer. Do you know your answer? So what would you do? I think I know your answer. Hence, I have my own opinions about being judged by someone who does not know me, let alone someone else. And guess what? You have the ability to. So I urge you to study it out on your mind. If there is anything remotely that doesn't settle well with you, that you ask, why that is. Why is that? I would be willing to bet you millions you are 100% correct. Be at peace, my friends. Preserve that peace. If you don't, others will seek to destroy it. Don't allow the vultures in your life to overtake you. Although I often speak of confidence and self-esteem, know that when it comes to you, the moment you decide to take bold action is when you have that specific self-esteem that you develop through your discernment. I love you guys all huge, and I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much for your support, your likes, and your comments and subscription. It warms my melting heart. Until next week, as I always like to close, I'll see you guys on